The first time you buy crypto, everything looks fine. There's a balance, there's a chart, maybe even a button that says send. That's usually enough to make it feel like you own it. But in crypto, control and ownership are not the same thing, and the difference only shows up when it matters. When people first buy crypto, the experience feels familiar. You tap a button, a number appears, and it looks like ownership has been established. That feeling is understandable because it mirrors how most financial apps work today. But crypto systems don't recognize familiarity or intention. They don't know who you are, why you're acting, or whether a mistake was accidental. They only recognize one thing: whether a transaction is properly authorized. So the real question isn't whether crypto is in your account. The real question is, who has the ability to move it when it matters? In crypto, control has a very specific meaning. It means the ability to authorize a transaction on the network. Nothing more and nothing less. There is no shared control by default, no human review, and no judgment call built into the system. If a transaction is signed correctly, it goes through. If it isn't, it doesn't. This can feel abstract at first, but it's an important shift. Crypto doesn't care about ownership in the traditional sense. It cares about permission, and permission is purely technical. One of the most common misunderstandings is thinking that a wallet is where crypto is stored. That idea makes sense because that's how wallets work in the physical world. In crypto, wallets don't hold assets. The assets exist on the blockchain, recorded on a shared ledger that everyone can verify. What a wallet actually holds is the information needed to access and control those records. A wallet is better thought of as a tool. It helps you view balances, prepare transactions, and sign them correctly. Changing wallets doesn't move your crypto. Losing access to your keys, however, can. At the center of all of this is something called a private key. A private key is not an identity, and it's not an account. It's a piece of information that proves you're allowed to move a specific set of assets. If you control the private key, the system recognizes your authority. If you don't, it doesn't matter who you are or what you intended to do. There is no appeals process built into the network. This design is deliberate. It removes the need for trust in people, but it also removes safety nets people are used to. The responsibility that used to sit with institutions moves closer to the individual. This is where the idea of custody becomes important. Custody simply means who holds the private keys. Sometimes you hold them yourself. Other times, a service holds them on your behalf. In both cases, the blockchain behaves the same way. The difference is who actually controls the keys behind the scenes. It's possible to feel like you own crypto while not controlling it directly. That's not a trick or a scam by default. It's just a different custody arrangement, and it comes with different trade-offs. Many people choose custodial setups because they're easier. Password resets feel safer than managing cryptographic keys. Familiar interfaces reduce anxiety, especially when something goes wrong. There's nothing irrational about that choice. Convenience has real value. The important part is understanding what's being traded for that convenience. When you give up direct control of keys, you're trusting someone else to act on your behalf under certain conditions. Sometimes that works smoothly. Sometimes it introduces limits you didn't realize existed. You've probably heard the phrase, "not your keys, not your crypto." It's often repeated but rarely explained. What it actually means is simple. If you cannot independently authorize a transaction, you do not have final control over the asset. That doesn't mean you're guaranteed to lose it, and it doesn't mean the system is broken. It means your access depends on rules and processes outside the blockchain itself. Understanding that distinction early prevents a lot of confusion later. Crypto ownership isn't about accounts, apps, or balances. It's about authorization. Who can sign and under what conditions. Once you see control this way, a lot of things become clearer. Some risks feel less mysterious, some frustrations make more sense, and decisions become easier to reason about. Crypto doesn't reward confidence or punish hesitation. It simply enforces its rules consistently. The more clearly you understand those rules, the calmer the system feels to use. Seeing a balance can feel like ownership, but in crypto, control lies somewhere deeper. When you separate appearance from authority, the system becomes easier to understand, even if it's still unfamiliar. That clarity doesn't make crypto safer or riskier by default. It just makes your decisions more informed. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Everything on this channel is about understanding how crypto actually works, not price predictions or hype, but the systems, rules, and shared records that make crypto function under the hood. When you understand how the crypto system is built, it becomes much easier to judge the claims, headlines, and narratives around it. That foundation is what we'll keep building in the next video. This content is for education only, not investment advice. And thanks for watching.